Usually we are speaking to a much larger crowd that tends to gather when we are making the announcement, and we'd like to explain a little bit to the folks that are maybe new to the Rotch that the Rotch Travelling Scholarship is the oldest traveling scholarship in the United States. It started in 1883, so you are all part of a long and cherished tradition, one that has launched careers and has given numerous hundreds now of architects the opportunity to study the rest of the world outside of their own context, outside of their own, let's say, cultural framework, and expand their horizons. So not only is it the oldest traveling scholarship, but we like to think it's the most design intensive. And as you know, at this point, a two-stage design competition is a rigorous thing, and that you have devoted such great energy, thought, and effort towards getting to this point. And we deeply appreciate the sincerity of the work, the depth of your thinking, and the just incredible representational skills that you displayed in your board. So I'd like to thank Elizabeth for a really remarkable brief. And looking at the outcomes of the project this year, there was such a compelling and challenging proposition to attack, but also such an open and generous brief that really allowed everybody to kind of expand into it at an urban scale and all the way down to a very detailed scale, even to the scale of the physics that are operating with this particular typology. So I'd like to thank Elizabeth for that. I'd like to thank Patricia, who is our liaison with the BSA, and she's just joined the Rotch team. For many years, we were working with Caitlin Hart, and she has moved on to some other responsibilities at the BSA, and we are delighted to welcome Patricia. And Patricia, we look forward to working with you over the years to come. And then lastly, I'd just like to thank our jurors for devoting their afternoon, their Friday afternoon with us. And I'm sure you feel the same thrill that I feel every year looking at this remarkable work. And in fact, Yasmin, who is practicing in Providence and teaching at the GSD, I think maybe this is the first time you've interacted with the Rotch, and we're delighted to have you and your excellent comments today. And both Elle and Jeremy were former winners of the Rotch, so they're looking at this from a perspective of having gone through all of the effort and thought processes that you have, and were able to travel once they've won the scholarship. So thank you all again. Great work, remarkable work, and you pay such respect to our discipline and to the Rotch in particular, and we just want to send our gratitude.
All right, and so with that, what we're going to do is, traditionally each of the jurors kind of takes on one of the projects and provides notes that are really a summary of the conversations that we've been having in our deliberations. We're going to do this in reverse chronological order. So William, you were the last to present, so Yasmin's going to give comments, and then we'll kind of go up the list from there. So Yasmin, maybe I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see this beautiful proposal. Oops. I don't think you guys can see that. Let me try again. Okay, can you guys see that all right? All right, so I'm happy to present William Smith's project called The Fountain, which really kind of reimagined the data servers as a monolith visible for all of Boston to see. It's kind of perched on the edge of the site. It's also complemented by an exhibition hall kind of propped above the void of the dry dock, which serves as outdoor galleries. But the jury was really kind of taken by the very intelligent approach with regards to the Blue New Deal, but also the really beautiful resolution of the site and the architectural strategy. You know, rather than fill the site, Williams' project was unusual in the sense that it has a very light touch on the site. It leaves the expansive scale of the dock open-ended, honoring both its kind of industrial past, but also creating this very kind of open-ended platform for contemporary uses. I'll just flip through a few of the images because I think that the jury was also really impressed by the kind of controlled yet experimental representational approach to the project, which brought a real kind of clarity and resolution to his vision. So thank you. Pass it on to the next person.
Yes, so I will present, I have the pleasure of presenting Kyle Barker's work. Let me share my screen here. All right, did that work out okay?
Yep.
So Kyle's project labeled Dataport, we found to be super intriguing, super engaging, a kind of playful expression of maybe the radiator, or a playful expression of the dynamic between heat transfer, the release of heat, and all of these imaginative ways that we could use that, whether it be through a meandering set of pools, which are subterranean, or a set of, we'll get to some of these other things as the images keep going, but even in the pools, there are these different sizes, which are meant to be a direct correlation to the heat, and how the kind of progression of use would happen throughout this part spa, part park, part data center. It's kind of a new typological invention, which I think the jury was really struck by. We all felt that we would want to come here and to play and to imagine. There is this sort of air of something which is surreal, something which is fantastic, maybe even magical. I think that we were really interested by a kind of series of climatic types that were happening here, or even an appropriation of things which happen in other places. So here we see a geyser, which has suddenly occurred from excess heat from the data center. We see a tropicarium, or a tropical area within this kind of inflatable dome, also created by excess heat. And the Sonoran Desert has been transplanted to this location. And these are all accessed through an extension of the Harbor Walk in Boston. And of course, there are places where we can see down into the data center. So there's this kind of dynamic between the center, the data center, which brought us all here, and also the public itself. So it was just a kind of joy to run through this project. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop sharing and allow for the next presentation.
All right, so I have the great pleasure of sharing Trent's work. Screen 2, yes, this is the correct screen. All right, so Trent Fredrickson, I think we were all incredibly struck by the very interesting contrast of the modesty of this project and its like incredible robustness. There is a sort of delicacy and subtlety to it that was really contrasted with this sort of a sort of heaviness that matched the post-industrial and postmodern and really new natural condition that the site warrants. He really took this on, both from an urbanism perspective. There was a very I think appropriate and expansive capacity to see beyond the site itself and understand this site as a piece of Boston at large, but also and as a social space, but also an incredible ecological response to the site. So I'll pan through this a little bit. You can see here that the servers were provided in a ring that kind of bounded the site almost as a roof, but not roof. You can see the urbanism here, and the site itself was bifurcated into two pieces. There was a social space towards the rear of the site, and then a zone, a sort of marshland or a floodable softscape at the forefront of the site, covered with the servers. You can see the ring here. The structural system was very intelligent, as was the treatment of the facade on something that I think we can't properly call architecture, nor can we call landscape, and that betwixt and between felt intriguing and exciting to us as a way of encountering the brief. Trent proposed a lenticular facade that allowed for multiple readings of the site as both an artificial and a natural thing that reflected its environment. And you can see here that kind of that lightness and sensitivity, but also that incredible robustness that he brought to the project. And the plan was quite remarkable as well. It's almost there was a yin yang about the plan that I think we really admire. And an organization too. I think there was this like fascinating framework that was very, very clear, and yet the ecological almost removal of things. They were really at play in a pleasing way. Very thoughtful ideas here about the thermal capacity and the historic capacity of the site, and the interior. Yeah, so we were very impressed with this project. Thank you, Trent. I will stop sharing my screen as soon as I can figure out where my stop sharing. There it is.
Great. I think it's up to me now to present Peter Zuroweste's really lovely project, and I will share my screen as well. Is that sort of visible to everyone? Yeah, okay, great. Let's do. So Peter's project, titled A Spa in the Cloud, centered really on this idea of thermal social exchange that we thought was very productive, and in particular, a thermal and structural inversion of the type of the Roman bath. We found that the complementary notions of digital and social interaction in the programs of what he sets out as a data hotel, in conjunction with a hanging bath, woven tightly together through radiant heat exchange, addressed both contemporary conditions and deep disciplinary typologies, while also acknowledging and continuing to reinforce the dual recreational and industrial lineages of the Boston waterfront through harborside access for both shipping containers and housing server racks and boats carrying passengers. We thought in particular this portion of a typological variation through thermal gradients via a graduated catenary structural partie was at once inventive and playful, and recreated sort of quite literally, I would say, the inverted sort of figure or elevation of a Roman bath, while also very clearly operating within, let's say, the structural and visual languages of boat construction that you saw in an earlier slide. So we thought this was really just fantastic, both in the orientation of the public space, the production of a certain character due to sort of like the textured underbelly of the building, and this sort of catenary distance between the server racks and the eventual pools, providing this thermal gradient through sort of like the gradual cooling of the liquid exchange as it goes further and further distances. So all in all, we just thought it was really quite an elegant scheme, both producing a really compelling and variegated plan, and an incredibly expansive organizing section. Great.
All right, I'll share my screen and introduce Morgan's project. I actually pulled some images out, made a little PowerPoint slightly different. Now I see I could have done this differently, but we started afternoon with the remarkable set of images and imagination and energy that Morgan portrayed in his project. And we can see here this, this image of a kind of glazed, shimmering glazed facade that's enclosing a robust structure and actually connecting down into the water of the harbor itself as a source of cooling and a place for all of the mechanisms of the data center would be located. And we can see in this exploded axonometric just the level of thought that Morgan gave this, what I was describing as kind of a series of systems that emanate out of the physics of thermal transfer into an architecture that is both somehow maybe reminiscent of this tradition of brutalist architecture in Boston, but then shrouded in this light skin, not unlike the waves of the harbor itself and all of the kind of reflectivity that would occur as a kind of beacon at the edge of Boston Harbor. And we thought this was just a really stunning series of spaces. You can see how this structure is kind of rising out of the sea, out of the data centers, and supporting what became an enclosed public space for any number of activities that could occur in this place. You can see here in the section, and we were really taken with the incredible rigor and thought of these structural systems, but also the quality of space, this really monumental space. Morgan talked about its connection to Borges and the labyrinth, this notion of the garden and the library coming together within here. And my thoughts immediately went to Piranesi and his imaginary prison series, looking at qualities of infinite space and light and shadow is creating such a kind of profound and imaginary environment. Here you can see in the plan that is this system of data objects, servers and such embedded in this kind of architecture, not unlike, as Jeremy said, not unlike the architecture of a chip itself with its kind of relentless pattern and underlying geometric order. Whoops, I think I went the wrong way there. And then finally, these images are just really stunning, so remarkable in their detail and so convincing in how Morgan was embracing this typology, not just as a kind of place to, put a series of machines, but really developing a whole new architectural language out of how both data centers and public space and structure and light can come together. And we were just super impressed, and what a great way to start the afternoon. We were completely energized after this remarkable project.
And this is the time when you would not be hearing 6 children in the background. You would instead have a glass of champagne in your hand, and we would all be raising a toast to you guys. So I just, I think we've all said it, but I want to say it one more time. This was a remarkable group of responses and projects. So thank you to each of you for all of your efforts. So the runner-up today is William Smith. So congratulations, William, on being a runner-up. This means you are invited to come back again next year, of course, as a finalist, and we certainly hope you do. We cannot wait to see what else you might produce. We were really blown away by your work. The winner of the Rotch 2021 is Kyle Barker. Congratulations, Kyle. The delight, the energy, the joy, dare I say, that you brought to this work was just, it was just overwhelming. I think it sort of, there was an effervescence to it, and I think we all want to be in the space that you designed. So we admire it both on the level of a sort of an idea, but also at an architectural scale, we were really blown away that you were able to navigate the social, the programmatic, all the way down to the architectural wall section in detail. So many congratulations to both of you and to all of the finalists. It was, you know, again, I did not walk into my Zoom office today and expect to see such remarkable things. So thank you all. A toast. A virtual toast.
Add my congratulations, and once again, thanks for all of the remarkable work, and also to our jurors and Elizabeth, again, for a super compelling project. You have set a high bar for the years to come.
Yes, well, I know this was probably torture for some of you, but I have to say, I do think this takes on some of the major issues that we are encountering in the world right now as architects. And each of you brought a very clear agenda about what it might mean to be an architect and to be a designer right now, which is not like being a designer at any other time or moment in history. And now that I know you a little bit more, we'll look forward to following your careers, because I think it's incredibly exciting to see what's come out. So thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody. And William and Kyle will be reaching out to you directly about next steps and all of that. But congratulations to everybody, and to you both in particular. Just stunning work. Fantastic.
Yes, I'm gonna actually clap. All right.
Thank you.
Beautifully done. Thank you all.
Congratulations, everyone. Wonderful work.
Congratulations, Kyle. Great project. All of you.
Yeah, it was super exciting to see everyone's work. It's like this is the third time I've been a finalist. And I've entered this 5 times. So it's been like, this feels like the culmination of, I don't know, almost like a decade chapter in my life at this point. So I really appreciate it.
That's really impressive.
It is, Kyle, that's not an atypical story. And we've had a lot of people that have been tenacious and persistent, and have been runners up multiple times, and have ultimately become the winner. So we're delighted that all of that practice that you had, has paid off so well over the years. I mean, you've always produced such compelling work, and it's really nice that today we were able to offer you the scholarship.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing what your proposal is for travel, Kyle. I think we feel very strongly that it's going to be an exciting year ahead, and we look forward to seeing what you produce.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, congratulations.